Alrighty, folks. I'm sure you guys have all heard the sad news of Ace Frehley's passing. I'm sure you guys have all seen 1,000 videos, tribute videos. The outpouring for Ace has been crazy. Well justified, though. If you weren't a Kiss fan in the 70s, then you won't understand. So you just gotta take our word for it. I'll just start off showing off some of my stuff and then talk a bit about it. The my history on the in between and try and make it not too painful. Here we got this Kiss picture disc. Debut album. Probably my favorite Kiss album. But that's always open to change. Then we got Hotter Than Hell. Of course, I should say, like on the first album, you got Cold Gin on there. Ace Frehley wrote that. Parasite, Strange Ways on this one. Hotter Than Hell. Dressed to Kill. One of my favorite Frehley pen tunes. Well, Getaway is also on here, and then Rock Bottom, which he co-wrote with. I'll show the back of this one. Can't tell which way is up. Not much going on in the back of that CD. Then we got the legendary Kiss Alive. Not my favorite live album from Kiss, which can be a shocker to most people. But there's a story behind why it isn't. Then we had Destroyer. This is that anniversary set. Flamin' Youth. Rock and Roll Over. Did Ace have anything on it? I don't think he wrote anything on this one. But the playing was always amazing. You always knew it was Ace Frehley. And of course, Love Gun, where we first get to hear Ace on vocals. He wrote quite a few classic Kiss tunes, but he never wanted to. He didn't like the idea of singing, so he always pawned them off on Gene or Peter, Paul, till we got Shock Me. And then my introduction to Kiss. Kiss Alive 2. So yes, this is my favorite Kiss live album. My favorite Kiss album, if we're talking overall. So I think I was in the 4th grade. No, I was in the 3rd grade. And I saw a guy wearing a Kiss shirt. It was actually Destroyer. And I asked him what it was because I thought that it was a comic book. And he's like, no, this is a band. And I'm like, what? It's like, it didn't register. I didn't see anybody that looked like these guys sitting around the house with my grandparents or parents watching Hee Haw and the Lawrence Welk Show. So he was like, yeah. He goes, I'll bring you an album and you can listen to it. You can take it home and borrow it and listen to it. And so I was like, cool. So he brought this album to school, but then he crushed me and told me that his mom would not let me borrow it, but she did let him bring it to school. One of the greatest gatefolds of all time, if not the greatest gatefold of all time. So the entire class, I studied this thing, every inch of it. I had never seen anything like it in my life. And I went home and begged my mom to buy it for me. And she told me that if I got all A's and B's on my next report card, that she would. And I did, and she did. And the rest is history. History, as they say. And, it was all Kiss all the time for many years. And this was actually my second Kiss album. If you can't tell, these are my original vinyls. Yeah, I knew that one was gonna look a little bad. Yeah, got this one for Christmas in '78. And so that was over a year that I had just Kiss Alive 2, and I listened to it every single day, without fail, multiple times a day, over and over and over again. So I had never heard any of the studio versions of those songs, nor had I heard any songs from the first 3 albums. So some of these are remixed on here, but still, there was lots of new favorites. First time hearing Cold Gin, like I said, Ace Pin Tune. Then we got the solo albums. I actually didn't have the Ace one for a long time. The idea of the solo albums just didn't sit right with me. Then Dynasty. I took got Ace doing 2000 Man on this one. Hard Times. And then we got Unmasked, where the fissures start showing in the band. I think this is the only album that has 3 Ace tunes on it. Talk to Me, Torpedo Girl, Two Sides of the Coin. Not the best album, but those Ace songs are the better songs on the album, along with Is That You? So this was this 80? So I would have been 11 when this came out. I never understood why they put, I still say they stink down there, but you get it as you get older. And luckily, this picture right here, I wanted to get that tattooed on my back. Not the gasp, but the other 4 except when their masks came off, this was going to be George Harrison, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and John Lennon. Luckily, I could never find a good enough drawing of all 4 Beatles that would have fit that, so I did not get that tattoo across my back. And Music from the Elder. I always liked this album. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't like this album, especially after Unmasked. Lots of good stuff on here. Dark Light, of course. And then we had this one, Kiss Killers. Greatest Hits. German import, obviously, looking at that. Eric Carr on there. Before we got this one, now I know Ace doesn't play on this one, but he's on the picture. And it's a cool album cover. And then we had to wait all the way until 1996 to get this. And this is a great live album, too. For the acoustics, I mean, the acoustic playing, for an acoustic album, it's killer. So yeah, so then they decide to get back together, and then we get this little prequel, You Want the Best, You Got the Best, for the reunion tour. I saw it twice in Dallas. They came out in, so they really got working, because this came out in early '96. This came out in mid '96, and then they were on tour, and I saw them in mid '96, like July probably, and it still my favorite concert of all time. They were just incredible. It was, 1977. I was transported back to 1977. I mean, they pulled out all the stops, and Ace had his smoking guitar and the strobe light guitar and the shooting gun guitar. They were awesome. He did Shock Me and New York Groove. Then they came back in November of '96, and of course I went to see that one. Almost the same set list. There was like 2 songs that they changed up. They didn't change Ace's songs. He still did Shock Me and New York Groove, but that was perfectly fine with me. As long as I got Shock Me, I was happy. Then we had Psycho Circus. And then I saw him in 2000, which I think was titled the Farewell Tour. That one was in Fort Worth. Skid Row and Ted Nugent opened. Ace got 2 songs that night too. He did Shock Me and he did 2000 Man, so that was awesome. And then we got, I'm going to save this one. I've been doing these in chronological order, but I'm going to save the other one since it's kind of bulky. Then we got, this is also from, well, this is from '96, not released in '96, obviously. Live at Donington, Monsters of Rock, August 17th, 1996. And then this one actually came out afterwards. Veterans Memorial Auditorium, Des Moines, November 29th, 1977. So seeing Love Gun Tour is alive too, so you knew I had to get that one. That was actually the first off the soundboard one that I bought. And then I'll try not to make too big of a mess of this. I think this is just called the Kiss box set. Now, these CDs are gonna fall, I know, when I do this. So I'm gonna try and open it like this. If you can kind of see in there. Then it has, which lists everything in there, which I can probably read it on the CD better. And it has that little thing there. And it has this book here, which I'll pop through here in a second. I'm sure the CDs stayed in this better when they were when this thing was brand new, but they have a tendency to slip out. So the first one is 1966 to 1975. So yeah, there's a lot of pre-Kiss stuff on there. This has got, I mean, I would say half of it's greatest hits, but then half of it's like demos, outtakes, unreleased live recordings, pre-Kiss stuff. This one is 1975 to 1977. Did I show you that one? I don't think I showed you the cover there. So yeah, I love this thing. I paid a pretty penny for it. I actually didn't even know it existed. And then, because I kind of lost track of Kiss. Just wasn't the same without the same 4 guys in it anymore. This one's 1976 to 1982. This one's 1993 to 1999, but this one has Ace on the back. And this one is the 92 to 99 also. Eric Carr on the back. Him and Ace jamming together again. Oh yeah, I was going to show you some pictures in this one. If I can find some Ace photos, cool Ace photos, which I'm sure I do. Official merch catalog. Here's from the photo shoot of the debut album. I'll try not to find every single picture in here so there's no worry. There's lots of text over these pictures, so they're not really the best photos. Oh, so it's got stories behind all the. There's Ace up there on the Cold Gin page. Gene breathing fire. Oh yeah, I remember that picture right there. That was in a magazine. I bought that magazine just for that. All four of them sitting on those red choppers. I want to say that I may have had a poster of that too. There's a good Ace shot right there. So yeah, Kiss was my first band. Ace was my first guitar hero. Always remained a favorite. Yeah, he just had this cool style. The drunken guitar player stumbling around. So yeah. The immortal words, Ace Frehley and his guitar shock me. Alrighty. Yeah. This one hurts a little bit more than a lot of other ones. This was my first band, like I said, and he was my first guitar hero. Sorry I'm boring you with putting this back together. But I just had to do a little video. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't do a video for the Spaceman. Rock in peace, Ace.